Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome once again to the 10th free webinar, which is being organized by Team Iris. I'm Colonel Alankar Bhardwaj, and I'm the CEO of Team Iris and a veteran of Indian Army. I was a logistic officer, and during my tenure of more than 26 years, I've handled a number of appointments which involved accounting, be it be second in command of a unit or a commanding officer of 4 units. Thereafter, I worked for 6 years in one of the most prestigious schools in India named Mayo College Ajmer as the bursar. Now, those who don't understand means a person who's responsible for controlling the purse. Modern day bursar is in fact the administrative head of an institution. So apart from managing finance, I supervised 13 other verticals of administration under me. I got opportunity to handle a very large amount of money while I was handling the Employees Provident Fund of Mayo College Ajmer. Though there are some limitations when you invest money of the EPF trust, yet one needs to have an in-depth knowledge of investments. So you cannot go wrong, especially with the money which belongs to employee and it has been entrusted on you. So that is where I sought help of certified investment planners. Prior to this, I had sought help of these certified planners, financial planners, when I had retired and I wanted to suitably invest my life savings, which would give me a decent return to beat back the inflation and meet my financial goals. I was fascinated to learn about financial management, as one can say, I would say, investments. On interacting with these financial advisors, I learned certain nuances of investment. And the very first thing which was told to me was that a financial basket cannot have the same eggs. So if you want to grow, if you want growth in your money and you want also the safety of your money, you need to invest in different instruments. Now, what are these eggs? We have three panelists for today's webinar on financial planning. The first two are chartered accountants, father and son duo, that is Mr. Sunil Porwal and Mr. Subhash Porwal. Their company is named as S. Porwal and Company. It's a limited partnership company. The firm principal partner and founder, Mr. Sunil Porwal, has been participating in areas of taxation, auditing, appeals, assessments, arbitration, service tax, investment, consultation, succession plans for last 35 years in Rajasthan. Mr. Sunil Parwa is also fond of teaching and has given deliberations, conducting seminars on current topics pertaining to taxation and current affairs. Besides that, the chartered accountant, Mr. Subhash Porwal, who is also working with his father in the firm as a partner for 11 years and has interest in startups, taxation, handling litigation and arbitration. So, without wasting much time, I would like to call upon Mr. Porwal to tell us about the eggs I was talking about. Over to Mr. Porwal.
Good morning, everyone. Myself, CA Subhash Purwal, and I'm working with my dad, Mr. Sunil Purwal. So, good afternoon to all of you. And I'll be starting the first phase of this PPT. Everyone in life wants to earn money, and these days everyone works hard. Okay, but what happens is, besides earning and doing the hard work, you also have to do and be a very smart investor. Okay, so everyone has their own aim and everyone wants to be someone. So let's see, in my case, I aim to be Mr. Ambani. Okay, and I want to do investments as smart as Mr. Ambani. But has anyone ever thought, why is Mr. Mukesh Ambani the richest Indian? Because Mr. Mukesh Ambani does very smart investments, and those investments work for him 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and 365 days a year. So for achieving your goals, you have to make very smart investments, and a very efficient and effective financial planning is one of the key areas that one has to consider in reaching its goals. So basically, the investments or the importance of making a correct investment. Investments are essential for wealth creation. They reduce the effect of inflation. अपन सबको पता है कि महंगाई रोज बढ़ती है. पेट्रोल आज 100 रुपए लीटर है और अगले साल शायद 200 रुपए हो जाए. बट अगर अपन अच्छे इन्वेस्टमेंट्स कर रहे हैं, वी आर डूइंग द साउंड इन्वेस्टमेंट्स, वी माइट बी एबल टू बीट दिस इन्फ्लेशन. These investments or the right investments help us in fulfilling our financial goals, and all these combined help us to stabilize our financial future. इससे हमारा फ्यूचर, जो कि अभी कोविड के बाद बड़ा ही अनसर्टेन है, वो फाइनेंशियली थोड़ा सा स्टेबलाइज हो जाता है. जो करेक्ट और जो सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट गोल है और जो सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट चीज है इन्वेस्टमेंट्स के लिए, दैट इज यू डोंट नीड टू कीप ऑल योर एग्स इन अ सिंगल बास्केट. देखिए, आप अगर स्क्रीन देख रहे हैं तो मैंने एक छोटा सा डायग्राम इसके लिए डाला है कि अगर आप रिलायंस इंडस्ट्रीज को देखें तो रिलायंस इंडस्ट्रीज किस किस सेक्टर में वर्क कर रही है और उनके क्या कॉम्पिटिटर्स हैं. एंड आप देखेंगे कि मिस्टर अंबानी ने स्मार्टली ऑलमोस्ट सारे सेक्टर्स, चाहे रिटेल का हो, जियो मार्ट, रिलायंस रिटेल, चाहे पेट्रोकेमिकल्स का हो, चाहे एंटरटेनमेंट का हो, चाहे टेलीफोन का हो, चाहे ओटीटी का हो, सारे सेक्टर्स, चाहे एजुकेशन का हो, उन्होंने सारे सेक्टर्स में छोटे छोटे इन्वेस्टमेंट्स कर रखे हैं. तो द अल्टीमेट एंड द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग इज दैट आपके पास जरूरी नहीं है कि बड़ा इन्वेस्टमेंट करने के लिए या आपके पास बहुत सारा पैसा चाहिए हमें इन्वेस्टमेंट करने के लिए. हमें इन्वेस्टमेंट्स हम छोटा भी कर सकते हैं, बट जो भी करें सारे अंडे एक ही बास्केट में ना रखें. एक इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट जो मैं समझता हूँ कि पीपल टेंड टू कंफ्यूज एंड पीपल डोंट अंडरस्टैंड, देयर इज अ वेरी स्मॉल डिफरेंस बिटवीन इन्वेस्टमेंट एंड एक्सपेंडिचर. बेसिकली है ना, इन्वेस्टमेंट एंड एक्सपेंडिचर दोनों एक ही चीज है मेरे हिसाब से. बट इन्वेस्टमेंट और एक्सपेंडिचर का एक छोटा सा जो डिफरेंस दोनों को अलग करता है वो ये है कि ऐसा एक्सपेंडिचर जिससे आगे चल के हमें इनकम होने लग जाए, मैं उसको इन्वेस्टमेंट टर्म करता हूँ. जैसे कि अगर आप अपने घर पे एक सोलर प्लांट लगा रहे हैं तो शायद आज तो आप पैसा दे रहे हैं, आपका खर्चा हो रहा है, बट फ्यूचर में जब वो सोलर प्लांट आपके लिए आपका इलेक्ट्रिसिटी बिल रिड्यूस करेगा या आपका सरप्लस पावर जनरेट करके देगा, तो वो आपका एक इन्वेस्टमेंट फॉर्म में रिटर्न देगा. सो दिस इज अ वेरी स्मॉल डिफरेंस दैट आई हैड आपको सबको मैं बताया. इसके बाद में मेरी नेक्स्ट स्लाइड पे मूव करना चाहूंगा. एंड माय नेक्स्ट स्लाइड इज बेसिकली द रिस्क एपेटाइट. देखिए, हम सब लोग अलग अलग फैमिली बैकग्राउंड से हैं. वी आर फ्रॉम डिफरेंट ट्रेडिशंस, डिफरेंट एरियाज इन एंड फ्रॉम डिफरेंट पार्ट्स ऑफ द कंट्रीज. एंड इंडिया इज अ वेरी डिफरेंट कंट्री. हर एरिया दूसरे एरिया से बहुत डिफरेंट है. एंड बेस्ड ऑन दैट, based on our family values, based on our culture, based on our traditions, we have a risk appetite. Some people are daring, they have a higher risk appetite, and some people are not daring, they don't have a risk appetite. So अगर आप मेरी स्क्रीन को लेफ्ट साइड में देखेंगे तो मैंने दो चीजें बनाई हैं. एक रिस्क एपेटाइट, उसके नीचे मैंने लिखा हाई रिस्क, और दूसरा लिखा लो रिस्क. जिन लोगों के रिस्क एपेटाइट हाई होते हैं वो रिस्की इन्वेस्टमेंट्स कर सकते हैं, और जिन लोगों के रिस्क एपेटाइट कम होते हैं या रिस्क एपेटाइट होता ही नहीं है, वो लो रिस्क की इन्वेस्टमेंट्स करते हैं. सो बेस्ड ऑन दैट मैं इन्वेस्टमेंट्स को 4 तरह से क्लासिफाई करता हूं. वन इज नो रिस्क इन्वेस्टमेंट्स, द अदर इज लो रिस्क इन्वेस्टमेंट्स, थर्ड इज मीडियम रिस्क इन्वेस्टमेंट्स, एंड द फोर्थ इज हाई रिस्क इन्वेस्टमेंट्स. एंड बेस्ड ऑन आर वेरियस फैक्टर्स, मे बी इट एज, area, family background, future responsibilities, the surplus we have, the amount of investment we can do, we have to group our investments based on these four. So basically मैं सबसे पहले आपको ब्रीफ करूंगा what is a no risk investment. No risk investment as an Indian हमें सबसे पहले यही बताया जाता है कि जमीन खरीदो, मकान बनाओ, सोना खरीद लो, थोड़ा चांदी खरीद के रख लो घर में. This is something that I consider as no risk investment, जो शायद ईच एंड एवरी इंडियन हर जना अपने घर में करता है और शायद करता आएगा और सबको आगे बताएगा कि ये करना है. द अदर इज लो रिस्क इन्वेस्टमेंट्स, दैट इज इन्वेस्टमेंट इन गवर्नमेंट बॉन्ड्स, बैंक एफडीआर, पोस्ट ऑफिस, जिनमें भी गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया की गारंटी है, उनको मैं लो रिस्क इन्वेस्टमेंट्स मानता हूँ. देन आई कम टू द प्रेजेंट ट्रेंड, दैट इज द मीडियम रिस्क इन्वेस्टमेंट्स. in this I classify basically shares, mutual funds. जो चीजें शेयर मार्केट से लिंक्ड है मैं उनको मीडियम रिस्क इन्वेस्टमेंट्स में डालूंगा. एंड एक होता है हाई रिस्क इन्वेस्टमेंट्स. आज के जमाने में जब अपन स्टार्टअप समझते हैं, वेंचर कैपिटल समझते हैं कि कोई चीज एक बार 1 रुपया डाला और वो 1000 रुपए हो गए, या बिटकॉइन समझते हैं, तो ये सारी चीजें हैं which I consider as high risk investments. They have a higher return and higher risk. So only people who have an appetite for higher return and have an appetite for higher risk, they can make high risk investments. Based on this, I will classify investments into 4 things basically. First is your liquidity. आपके पास क्या liquidity है, आप कितना पैसा हर महीने बचा सकते हैं, साल में कितना पैसा बचा सकते हैं, और वो पैसे को आप आगे कब जाके यूज करेंगे. Based on this, you should make your investment option. The other is the time frame. कोई भी investment, if you are doing any investment, whether it be keeping the money in the saving account also, you need to be aware of the time frame. अगर आपके पास टाइम फ्रेम नहीं है और आपने आज पैसा डाला और कल बैंक से निकाल लिया, तो भी नुकसान है. बिकॉज अगर सिंपल टर्म्स में कोई भी आपको बताएगा कि बैंक भी इंटरेस्ट हर रोज का नहीं देता, हर रोज का आपको इंटरेस्ट देता है, पूरे महीने का बैलेंस नहीं देता कि अगर एक दिन अपन ने अकाउंट में 1 लाख डाल दिया तो बैंक पूरे महीने का आपको इंटरेस्ट देगा. सो दैट हैज टू बी आल्सो टू बी कैलकुलेटेड. थर्ड इज द रिटर्न्स, कि रिटर्न्स आपको कितनी चाहिए, वेदर यू वांट अ स्टेबल रिटर्न्स या आपको हाई रिस्की रिटर्न, हाई एंड रिस्की रिटर्न चाहिए. एंड द लास्ट एंड नॉट द लीस्ट, आई थिंक वी शुड ऑलवेज फॉलो आवर इंस्टिंक्ट्स. समटाइम्स कुछ हमारा मन कह रहा होता है, दिमाग कुछ और कह रहा होता है. I think while making an investment, one should be very cautious and he should always keep the peace of mind. He should not run in a haste manner कि भाई इसमें डाल दो पैसा, उसने कह दिया इसमें डाल दो पैसा, और वो अपने instincts को छोड़ के दूसरे के suggestions को follow कर दे. Yes, I think you should consider other suggestions but not follow them blindly. So based on this, I have summarized a few popular investment options. These options are like evergreen options, but इसके अंदर I have mixed certain current options that are trending these days, या जिसे लोग बाग hot investment options कहते हैं, कि भाई हमने इसमें पैसा डाला और हमारा पैसा रातों रात डबल हो गया. हालांकि फॉर एज अ सीए अगर मुझसे कोई बोलता है कि भाई आप इस चीज में पैसा डालो, रातों रात आपका पैसा डबल हो जाएगा, तो आई फॉलो माई इंस्टिंक्ट विच सेज ऐसा नहीं हो सकता, या ऐसा कुछ होगा तो उसमें या तो रिस्क हाई होगी, है ना, या कुछ ना कुछ कैच होगा. सो यू शुड ऑलवेज फॉलो दैट. सो बेस्ड ऑन दिस आई हैव क्लासिफाइड द इन्वेस्टमेंट्स इनटू some popular investment options, and these investment options are: first, fixed deposit, then the other is senior citizen deposit, PPF, government of India sovereign gold bonds or physical gold, life insurance, NPS, real estate, shares and securities, mutual funds, commodity, currency, cryptocurrency, I'm sorry. Okay, and I would like to discuss a few of these options with you. So normal, सबसे पहला fixed deposit, 7 से 14 दिन के लिए हम, can I have the next slide please? Yes. So first is the fixed deposit. फिक्स डिपॉजिट हम सब जानते हैं, बैंक में पैसा रखा है, उसकी एफडी बना लो, एफडी बना के रख लो. 7 से 14 दिन मिनिमम होती है, 10 साल के मैक्सिमम पीरियड तक अपन एफडी कर सकते हैं. टैक्सेशन एफडी का, आपकी जो भी इनकम है पूरे साल भर की, अगर आपकी 5 लाख से कम इनकम है तो कोई टैक्स नहीं है. 5 लाख से ज्यादा अगर आपकी साल की इनकम है तो आपका जो भी स्लैब रेट है 20% या 30% या उससे भी ज्यादा 35%, तो बेस्ड ऑन दैट इसको टैक्स लगेगा. सीनियर सिटीजन लोगों के लिए एफडी के ब्याज में गवर्नमेंट ने 50,000 के अलग डिडक्शन दी हुई है ना. इसलिए कभी कभी जो मार्जिनल टैक्स स्लैब पे होते हैं कि 5 लाख प्लस कुछ 1.5 लाख की टैक्सेबल एफडी करके और थोड़ा सा टैक्सेबल इनकम उनकी बचती है, पेंशनर्स और वो, तो उनके लिए ये एफडी ऑप्शन बेटर रहता है, बिकॉज यू गेट अ स्टैंडर्ड और एडॉक डिडक्शन ऑफ 50,000 रुपीज इसके अंदर. आज के जमाने में besides bank deposits, there is a concept of corporate deposits in which the banks give you a higher rate of interest, or you get a better rate of interest than the normal FD. So supposingly if you are getting a normal FD at a rate of 5.25% with any nationalized bank या कोई भी private sector bank में, तो corporate FD जो कि AAA rated होती है, you get a return of around 6.9 or 7% for a period of 5 years. I'm talking about. अभी के ट्रेंड में जितनी लंबी आप एफडी बना के रखेंगे उतना बेटर है, बिकॉज गोइंग फॉरवर्ड आई थिंक द इंटरेस्ट रेट्स आर गोइंग टू फॉल डाउन. नेक्स्ट इज द सीनियर सिटीजन डिपॉजिट स्कीम. दिस इज वन ऑफ द वेरी बेस्ट ऑप्शंस फॉर सीनियर सिटीजन, बट दिस इज ओनली अवेलेबल फॉर सीनियर सिटीजन, दैट इज पीपल ऑफ द एज ऑफ 60 years और मोर. इसके अंदर आप in your lifetime you can invest 15 lakh rupees. And this is only done with State Bank of India, Post Office, or a few selected banks. Third option, जो कि हर जने को करना चाहिए, as I have been told and I have understood over a period of time, that it is a PPF. Every person, whether he is doing a job or not, he should invest in PPF. Normally PPF वो लोग करते हैं जो जॉब में नहीं होते, या जो प्राइवेट बिजनेस करते हैं, या प्राइवेट जॉब में उनको GPF या PF के बेनिफिट्स नहीं मिलते. But other than that, I normally suggest my clients, I normally tell my people कि भाई 1.5 लाख रुपया आप PPF में डालो ही डालो, क्योंकि इसका सबसे बेस्ट जो रीजन है वो ये है कि द इंटरेस्ट इनकम फ्रॉम PPF is entirely tax free. It is the only option available right now that the government is giving exempt. When you invest, it is exempt. When you take the money, it is exempt. And when you receive the interest, it is also exempt. So that is why it is a best option as on date, considering all the government options. Can I move to the next slide, please? I have made certain FAQs. Normally लोगों के questions होते हैं इसके ऊपर, जो मैंने 3-4 FAQs I thought कि लोग बाग के इंटरेस्ट होते हैं कि क्या मैं FD मेरे बच्चों के नाम पे बना सकता हूँ, क्या मेरे टैक्स उससे नहीं लगेगा. जी, आप अपने बच्चों के नाम पे या अपने ग्रैंडसन ग्रैंडडॉटर उनके नाम पे फिक्स्ड डिपॉजिट बना सकते हैं, बट वो जो भी इसका इंटरेस्ट होगा वो आपके बच्चों की इनकम में या जो भी गार्जियन है उन माइनर्स के उनकी इनकम में जोड़ा जाएगा, है ना. क्या can I invest every year in senior citizen deposit scheme? No. You can only invest for maximum 15 lakh rupees in your lifetime. Either you do it as in a single year, in a single day, or in your entire lifetime. This is your choice. But maximum amount that you can invest is 15 lakh rupees. Third option, जो PPF से related है, can PPF account be opened in kid's name, and what shall be the tax effect of it? From last 5 years, we cannot open any PPF account in the name of the kids.
Minus.
In the name of kids or minors. Earlier, it was allowed, and we used to suggest people कि आप अपने बच्चों के नाम पे PPF में खोलिए, because you can put the money, the income is exempt, the interest rate is very good, and whenever the kids become major or the minors become major, they want to pursue their education, they want to get married, or anything they want to do with the money, it is a very useful tool for them. But right now the government has closed this option, and now PPF account can only be opened for persons who are of the age of 18 and above. But if you have a girl child, या आपकी कोई दोहिती है या पोती है और आप उन लोगों के लिए इन्वेस्ट करना चाहते हैं, so besides this PPF, we have a Sukanya Samriddhi account that the government has specified, and that gives a higher return than the PPF. But it is only for girl child, and that too only up till the age of 11 years.
0 days to 11.
0 days to 11 years. I'll be moving to the next slide, where I'll be discussing something about gold bonds. देखिए, सोना हमारा इंडिया का ट्रेडिशन है. we were called as the golden bird, and I think इंडियंस का जो गोल्ड में इन्वेस्टमेंट है उसका रीजन से ही जो इंडियंस का जो गोल्ड में इन्वेस्टमेंट है वो हाईएस्ट है वर्ल्ड में, और इंडियन स्ट्रांगली गोल्ड में बिलीव करते हैं. एंड गवर्नमेंट ने इसी को कैश करने के लिए गवर्नमेंट हैज कम अप विद अ वेरी गुड स्कीम, दैट इज द sovereign gold bond scheme. These are sovereign gold bonds that is guaranteed by the government of India. These are available for investment only by individual HUF and charitable institutions. No one can invest other than these people. This gives you annually 2.5% as the interest amount. So supposingly you have invested a lakh rupees and the present gold rate of the bond is 5,000 rupees per gram, then you get 20 grams of gold. Besides this 20 grams of gold, the government will pay you 2.5% interest for every year. The bond period is 8 years. You can keep the bond maximum for a period of 8 years. After 5 years, you can redeem it with the government. In case you want to immediately redeem it and gain the capital appreciation, then you can sell it in the demat form in the stock market. It is readily liquidable. And after, if you sell it after 8 years, the entire amount is tax free. The entire amount is tax free. Besides this, if you have certain cash income, अगर आपके पास कैश जनरेट होता है, यू हैव गॉट कैश इन हैंड, और आप थोड़ा थोड़ा फिजिकल गोल्ड में इन्वेस्ट करना चाहते हैं, तो दिस इज ऑल्सो नॉट अ बैड ऑप्शन. आप अगर धीरे धीरे, जस्ट लाइक म्यूचुअल फंड के SIPs होते हैं, छोटा छोटा इन्वेस्ट अगर अपन करते हैं, तो इन्वेस्टमेंट इन फिजिकल गोल्ड इन फॉर्म ऑफ कॉइन्स या रॉ बुलियन एंड लॉन्गर पीरियड में, दिस इज ऑल्सो अ गुड ऑप्शन. because it has been seen that in times of uncertainty like COVID या और कोई भी अगर इंटरनेशनल इवेंट होता है, तो गोल्ड प्राइसेस आर रैलिंग वेरी फास्ट. सो राइट नाउ, कंसिडरिंग द प्रेजेंट सिनेरियो, gold is not a bad option. Then I'll come with this NPS. This is a new option that is startup, but this thing is only suggestible for people who are of young age, maybe my age till 30-40 years, not with people who have crossed the age of 40 years, because this is for pension scheme. So this will have, or this will give returns in the longer term, but presently the government has granted certain additional deductions of 50,000 rupees for people to invest in this, but this is only for the person who is investing. You cannot claim this deduction if you are investing in the name of your family member. So if you are of a young age and you think that I need certain corpus that I can utilize at the time of my retirement, this is also not a bad option. Real estate, my next investment option is real estate. Real estate I consider only as an investment जब मेरे पास एक मकान है, उसके बाद में किसी भी जमीन, मकान, फ्लैट, दुकान, किसी में भी इन्वेस्ट करूंगा, उसी को मैं रियल एस्टेट इन्वेस्टमेंट मानूंगा. बिकॉज जो मेरा मकान जिसमें आई एम स्टेइंग, or whichever place I intend to live, cannot be sold. So it cannot be considered as an investment. You can consider at a part of your investment, but that is a non-liquid investment. Other than that, anything additional that you buy, I consider it as an investment. रियल एस्टेट का लॉक इन पीरियड आपके ऊपर डिपेंड करता है, आप कितना रिस्क एपेटाइट ले सकते हैं, कितने टाइम तक होल्ड कर सकते हैं, है ना. रियल एस्टेट का टैक्सेशन इज वेरी सिंपल. If you hold any real estate or any जमीन, दुकान, शोरूम, शॉप, कुछ भी, अगर आप 3 साल से ज्यादा होल्ड करते हैं, तो it becomes a long term gain. And if you hold it for a period of 3 years से कम, तो it is a short term. लॉन्ग टर्म पे फ्लैट 20% टैक्सेशन होता है हमारे यहाँ पे, एंड शॉर्ट टर्म पे जो भी रिस्पेक्टिव आपका स्लैब है उसके ऊपर टैक्स होता है. आई विल बी मूविंग टू माय नेक्स्ट स्लाइड नाउ. दैट इज द medium risk investment or the higher risk investments. So right now I am showing you 2 medium risk investments. This is the shares and securities and mutual funds. The exact details for these, the shares and securities and the investment in mutual funds would be I think Mr. Gupta would be better able to explain us the options, whether it is equity, debt, and other options. I'll be only updating you with regards to the taxation of the shares and securities and the mutual funds. So depending on the risk appetite, you have to keep your holding period. Earlier, the dividend income from shares, securities, and mutual funds was tax-free, but with effect from this last financial year, the government has made it taxable. Anything that you hold, any shares, securities, mutual funds that you hold for a period of more than 12 months becomes long term. But this long term taxation was introduced by the government only with effect from 31st of January 2018. So if anything that you have purchased before 31st January 2018 and you are selling it right now because there is a rise in the stock market, it will be taxed after deducting a lump sum amount of 1 lakh rupees in totality from your entire gain, and that amount shall be taxed at the rate of 20%. Besides, if you have purchased in last 12 months and you are selling it now, then it would be taxed at the 20%. These days, people are also investing in certain unlisted securities since there is a concept of startups. So in startups, normally the startups don't pay a very high salary in cash. They pay you in the form of shares or ESOPs, what we call them. And there is a parallel market that has been growing where the people are trading in unlisted shares and securities. And this unlisted shares and securities are taxed at as per your normal slab rates. Okay. Now I'll be moving on to the high risk investments, that is commodities. This is on my next slide. So basically, I would like to make you understand what is a commodity. So commodity includes agricultural products, metals, oil, animal product, and financial instruments, and also currency, dollar, bond, yen, anything. So commodity includes all these things. So what with the present scenario, what people are doing is they are trading this commodity future. They are buying and selling a specified quantity of these commodities at specified rates at a specified date. And this is known as commodity trading. कि एक commodity may be supposedly petrol या आप ले लीजिए crude. आपने 100 यूनिट क्रूड के लिए at a specified date जुलाई एंडिंग एंड स्पेसिफाइड रेट पे लिए, एंड उस डेट पे अगर क्रूड ऊपर नीचे होता है या डेली फ्लक्चुएशंस जो ऊपर नीचे होते हैं उसका जो एप्रिसिएशन होता है या आपका लॉस होता है, दिस इज योर इनकम फ्रॉम कमोडिटीज. Taxation of commodity trading is basically done in lines of F&O, and we normally consider trading in terms of classifying speculative and non-speculative. So जो भी commodity trading करता है, I suggest the people to disclose it properly in their returns. And the important point that people tend to forget these days is that in case your turnover from commodity transactions, considering both positive and negative. So supposing you have a gain of 1 lakh rupees and you have a loss of 1 lakh rupees. So the turnover will not be zero. It will be 2 lakh rupees. So in case your turnover is exceeding 1 crore rupees for the financial year, you will have to get your accounts audited and file your return along with that auditor. Now I come to the next slide, that is cryptocurrency. सो क्रिप्टो करेंसी हम देख रहे हैं अभी न्यूज में, गवर्नमेंट की इतनी सारी गाइडलाइंस हैं, गवर्नमेंट के इतने सारे नोटिफिकेशंस हैं, yet not notified. Mr. Manu, my fellow speaker today, would be better to able to provide you the detailed guidelines of the government on this topic. But I would just like to update you what is a cryptocurrency. Basically, cryptocurrency is a form of digital asset which is based on a network that is distributed across a large number of computers. Basically, एक asset जो एक कंप्यूटर में है और ऐसे बहुत सारे कंप्यूटर्स में अलग अलग हैं, और उन्होंने अपना खुद का एक ऐसा नेटवर्क बना लिया है. इस प्रोसेस क्रिप्टो करेंसी के जो प्रोसेस है, जो क्रिप्टो करेंसी जनरेट होती है, उस प्रोसेस को हम माइनिंग कहते हैं. यू हैव टू सॉल्व वेरी कॉम्प्लेक्स मैथमेटिकल इक्वेशंस, and based on that asset is generated into your system. Since the cryptocurrency allows the user to operate and enter into financial transactions without the requirement of trusted third party, and thus they exist outside the control of government and central authority. हर जना अपने सिस्टम पे कॉम्प्लेक्स मैथमेटिकल प्रॉब्लम्स एंड इक्वेशंस को सॉल्व करता है, और उसके बेसिस पे बहुत ही छोटा सा पार्ट ऑफ अ cryptocurrency is generated, and when these parts are collected in millions and millions, then they become one crypto coin. And since this entire transaction is done at various computers, it becomes, and no government agency, no reserve bank, no central bank is required to do or manage the transaction. This is very difficult to track.
Sir, before coming to the other aspects, I will once again highlight and would have your concentration on the issue that before planning or deciding your investments, whether it is PPF, whether it is insurance product, whether it is FT, whether it is the real estate, you have to take care of the taxation of the government, which keeps every year changing as per the Finance Act. Means whenever there is a central budget, the government policies keeps changing depending on the circumstances of the international and the national levels. So while deciding your long-term goals, while deciding your returns, while deciding your investments, the taxation policy of the government of India is again important. We should not leave it aside. Then while deciding cryptocurrency, speculative transactions, F&O, I will request all the senior citizens, please be careful. This is no time to take any risk. Limited risk can be there. We should enjoy it, but not beyond your capacity. This is my personal request. Over to Subhash.
Now, since we have discussed about certain popular investment options, I would also like to update you regarding investment and speculation. So there is a very thin line between investment and speculation. अगर हम कोई चीज लंबे पीरियड के लिए करना चाहते हैं, I call it as an investment. और कोई चीज अगर हम सुबह खरीदते हैं और 10 मिनट बाद बेच देते हैं, 10 सेकंड बाद बेच देते हैं, because of the price rise or anything, I consider it as speculation. So the purchase of an asset with the hope of getting returns is called investment. Speculation is an act of conducting a risky financial transaction in the hope of substantial profits. The basis for investment should always be fundamental factors. आप किस चीज में इन्वेस्ट कर रहे हैं? अगर आप शेयर्स में कर रहे हैं तो कंपनी की क्या प्रोफाइल है, क्या एसेट है, क्या बनाती है, क्या बेचती है, क्या मार्केट है. और स्पेकुलेशन इज बेसिकली टेक्निकल चार्ट्स, कोई मार्केट न्यूज, कोई गवर्नमेंट नोटिफिकेशन. So that is speculation. Time horizon for making an investment is always longer term, maybe more than 2 years, 3 years, or maybe much more than that. But speculation is pretty short term, very short lived. Risk involved investment always is a subject matter of risk, and it involves a very moderate risk. Whereas in speculation, it involves a higher degree of risk. Intent to profit. The intent for profit in case of investment is changes in value, जो capital appreciation धीरे धीरे होता है, and in case of speculation is change in prices. And the most important is behavior of participants. So behavior of participants who are making an investment should be conservative and cautious. Always conservative and cautious for our investments. And behavior of participants who are making an speculative trade or investments with a speculative aim should be daring and careless. Now, I would like to my father, Mr. Sunil Porwal, to give certain important lessons that he has gained from his experience over a period of time, and also what he thinks in this times of COVID will be very important. So I'll be moving to my next slide, that is COVID-19 lessons to be learned while investing.
Sir, looking to the present scenario, it has become very important to invest in such a phase, such a manner that the funds we are investing can be used, can be enjoyed by us. COVID-19 pandemic has affected each and every individual, either by through infection or through financial trauma, and exposed fragility of personal finance. The salaried class has faced job losses, cut in salary, and the assets, rich business, ambitious goals, and borrowers has not been able to pay for the borrowing. Thus, the lessons to be learned after COVID-19 while investing in that we need to revamp our money habits and refashion our investments. So, my request is, don't fool yourself while false optimizing regarding the future income projections. In brief, I can say that some of the times when the investment people contact you, or you contact those persons, where should I invest, how to invest, they show you number of illustrations on their laptop, on their phones. but kindly don't believe till they are not authenticated, because the returns as shown by them may not be correct always. So the key points for the investments are: there should be ample liquidity with us, we should have emergency funds, we should have future income projections, means whether the investments made by me will give me my future requirements of the financial needs. What is the cash retention limit for me? Cash retention means what is the liquidity emergency funds which I always needs. Write will and update your nominee. Will means you are making your desire that after you, who should succeed your assets, capital assets, liquid assets, and others. And ensure that all your investments, whether in FDs, shares, securities, your any mutual fund should properly be nominated. So the person after you to whom you pass your capital asset should not feel any problem. Then there should be a personal liability insurance also looking to the present circumstances. People keep asking about the global investments also, and I always request and insist them that if you don't understand the international laws, kindly leave and take the consultancy from the mutual fund persons who can guide you in the proper way, because they can guide you where to invest, how to invest, etc. The last and least is reverse mortgage. Those who have problem of liquidity has a bank facility that they can mortgage their fixed assets, land, building, etc. They can loan they can take a loan thereon, and during the lifetime, if they like, they can repay the loan and get the mortgage cleared, or otherwise later on the bank will take care. So this is all the fundamentals of the investments looking to the present scenario. And I believe that we should be extra careful while making our precious funds in those investments. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Namami, can you bring the slide down? Yeah.
There is one question, I think, sir, Mr. Saurabh Kapoor.
We will take on the question answers, at the end of the session. If I may request the participants, there will be a question answer session. So please keep posting all the questions which you have in the chat box. Okay, coming back to the main proceeds. Thank you, Mr. Sunil Porwal and Subhash, for your extremely informative talk. I think you've covered all aspects of investment, or the eggs I was referring to, and also explained in detail how investment patterns have changed post-COVID, with focus more on emergency funds and liquidity, which is due to unforeseen emergencies. Well, we all, those participants, now again I'm saying, please post your questions in the chat box. There is already a question. It's all regarding PPF. Mr. Porwal can have a look at it and prepare yourself. But we will answer your questions once the complete all the panelists have given their views, because at times it happens that a question or a query which is being raised by one of the participants is answered by the subsequent panelists. So then it becomes a repetitive. Therefore, kindly post your questions in the chat box, and we will take it on after Mr. Gupta finishes. So over to my wife, Mrs. Vasu Bhardwaj, for further proceeds of the webinar.
Good afternoon, everyone. Before I introduce you to the third panelist, Mr. Manu Rishi Gupta, I would like to say that since we have learned about various instruments of investment, it is very important to understand how our money will grow if we invest in them. Because the ultimate goal is growth in wealth. I agree that every person has different goals and needs, yet we all should be able to calculate some basic things to keep a tab on our wealth. Over a period of time, markets have behaved in a peculiar manner, so it's better to take help of a financial planner whom you can refer to as a financial physician. The third panelist is Manu Rishi Gupta, who is CEO and founder of MRG Investment Partners Private Limited. Manu started investing not by choice but under compulsion to augment money for his education and to support family. This necessity evolved into a hobby and now eventually into a profession. He has been investing for a host of friends and families over the last 2 decades. Manu firmly believes that any portfolio manager claiming to beat the Buffett hurdle of approximately 20% should have become more successful than Warren Buffett himself. The fundamental tenet of MRG Capital is rooted to protect and grow capital over a period of time rather than a relentless and insatiable need to outperform other funds or indices. Apart from this, Manu is an active blogger and writes on leadership, finance, and philosophy. He also actively contributes on the Huffington Post. For the record, he is an MBA in finance with the Best MBA Citizen Award from Warwick Business School, UK. Over to Mr. Manu Rishi.
Thank you all very much. Glad to be here. Mr. Porwal, thank you for a lovely session. I think you've covered pretty much all the basics that anybody possibly needs to know about all the fundamentals of investing. So I thought, since we did have a practice session yesterday, I thought let me try and make this a bit more interesting and give you some formulas and solutions, because we all know what the avenues of investments are: stocks and bonds and golds and provident fund. One of the fundamental, I'll share my screen, answering a few questions and giving you a few formulas, because we all remember the Hero Honda ad from our childhood, which used to say, fill it, shut it, and forget it. And there was also another ad which there was a Maruti ad. Okay, the salesman is trying to say, okay, this Maruti is costing this much, it's doing this, that, and all. So a gentleman simply asks, "Bhaiya, deti kitna hai?" An Indian mentality is, okay, what is the average that a car gives? So I'm going to share a few interesting rules with you. I'll try and make this as interesting as possible. Mr. Porwal's covered pretty much everything of it, but I will try and give you some rules and regulations. We all want to really know, when will our money double and how will our money double? Some of you might still know, but there is the most fundamental and a powerful rule called the rule of 72, which is so interesting. If you just mentally calculate that if a FD is giving you, say, about 3.5% post-tax, it is very easy to calculate how many years will it take for your FD to double your money. So if you divide 72 by 3.5, which is a post-tax return on an FD, about 3.5 odd or whatever, it will approximately take you 21 years for your money to double. Now, if this was equity, which has historically given 15% CAGR since 1980. Since 1980, equity has given us a 50% compounded annual growth rate, which means that 1 lakh invested in equity in 1980 is worth 3.14 crores. So equity at 15% would possibly double your money, even if it grows at a mere 15%. Of course, the last 1 year has been phenomenal. The money has grown by 100%. But even if equity consistently grows at 15%, it pretty much doubles your money in 6 years. One of the other things that everyone wants to know is the definition of being wealthy. For somebody who's very happy, a sadhu feels that if he's getting a square meal a day, he's very happy. Maybe Mr. Adani feels that unless he becomes the richest man on the planet, he's not wealthy enough. But a Nobel laureate, Thomas Stanley and William Danko, gave out a formula. And it's a very interesting formula. Some of you might already know it. That if you divide your age, if you multiply your age with your pre-tax income, so hypothetically, let's take it at 1 crores and divide it by 10. If your net worth, present net worth is that much, you can very comfortably and confidently consider yourself wealthy. I'll give you a small example. If you are 50 years of age and you're earning 1 crore a year, if you are 50 years of age and earning 1 crore a year, you divide that by 10. And if your net worth is say 5 crores, you can very comfortably and confidently consider yourself a wealthy human being. A lot of my clients and people of different age groups, right from 20 to 80, that's the spectrum of the age group of my clients. They often ask me, "Ke Manu beta, equity mein hum dalein kitna?" Because I'm primarily going to speak about equity today because I specialize in equity. I eat equity, breathe equity, sleep equity. I've only done equity all my life since I was 14. I'm 46 now. I think one of the simple ways to decide as to how much and what percentage of your wealth you can invest in equity is you subtract your age from 100. So if somebody is 50 years of age, you subtract that from 100, you get a figure of 50, you have a 50-50 equity allocation to equity and debt. Debt are various instruments, and Mr. Porval's told you a little bit about debt, but a bank FD is debt, company fixed deposits are debt, but by and large, a bank FD is debt because bank is taking a debt from you. So that is a definition of debt. Of course, between the debt, there are various kinds of debt, risky, non-risky debts, and the return on debt can anywhere be between 4 to 8%, depending on the risk element of the thing. One of the other things is that we all often try and find out and try and wonder what should be our rate of return from various instruments. One of the thumb rules is a very simple 10-5-3. From equity, you can expect to generate a very consistent 10 to 12% an annum. From bonds, you can expect to generate 5 to 7% an annum. And from FD, which is liquid or liquid funds, you can expect to generate anything between 3 to 4%. A lot of the viewers today would have come across your bank managers, relationship advisors, everyone trying to sell you some sort of a plan. कि मैम ये यूलिप ले लीजिए, आपको इंश्योरेंस भी मिलेगा और 5 साल में आपका पैसा इतना भी हो जाएगा. I personally believe that all these plans, and there are about 7,000 plans in this country today, 7,000 investment options, are only made to confuse people and transfer wealth from the client's money to the banker's money or into their bonuses. We have, in our company, we have tried to simplify the investment and investment profile into simply 3 kinds of profiles and options. And those are based primarily on a person's age and, age and stage of life. I would say the young Turks are the people who are anywhere between 1 to 30. When they are below 18, they are under the guardianship of their parents. Those are the people who have a lifelong and a very, very long runway ahead of them. They can take larger risks. They can see drawdowns in their wealth. The meaning of a drawdown is that if you invested rupees 10, it became 20, and for some market risk, some systemic risk, that 20 again became 12 before finally becoming 30. The younger people have an ability to go through that shock. Then comes the middle-aged professionals, people like me, who are like 40, on the wrong side of 40. They still have about 10, 12 years of, 15 years of prime life. They still have a working runway. I call them the middle-aged professionals. And they are the people who should have an investment horizon of about a minimum 5 to 7 years. Please remember everything. Even today, if you go and do a bank FD, you are required to get your present 5%, you're required to do a bank FD for 390 days. It is quite unfortunate that when we invest in any other asset class, we start asking our financial manager, कि भैया पिछले हफ्ते हमने पैसा दिया था, हमारे पैसे का क्या हुआ? I think patience, the one thing that kills most of the investors is not the investment strategy. Investment strategy, if it is reasonably okay and it need not be perfect, will always give you money. Why people lose money is because people end up losing their patience. And the third set of investors are, I would say, retired people who are 60 and over. They don't have an investment horizon of more than 2 or 3 years. At a short notice of, say, a couple of months, they can ask for their money back, and they don't want to take any risk. They all know that they are getting their pension. They have their own FDs, their retirement corpus of anywhere between 20 to 50 lakhs, depending on how people retire, has gone into bank FDs. And those FDs are generating 3 to 5%, depending on your tax profile. And if somebody was to tell them that, you know what, the risk, if we can minimize risk, can barely beat your bank FD by 3 or 4 or 5 percentage points, say 10%, without any risk of losing your capital, I think those people will be very happy. Now, anybody on this planet who's promising anything more than that is pretty much misleading you. And this you all must keep in mind. When the bank manager or your relationship manager calls up and says, take a ULIP for 5 years and your money will probably more than double, run away from that room as fast as you can. Life is all about risk, and risk is defined by how you allocate your resources. You know, if you are a conservative investor, you would want low volatility. Volatility is what? 10 becoming 11, becoming 12, becoming 13, and 10 becoming 15 in 5 years. That means every year, if 10 becomes 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 in 5 years, you are happy. That means there is no volatility. There is a assurance of a consistent return. But supposing you start with 10, next year it becomes 7, next year it becomes 4, in the third year it becomes 12, in the fifth year it probably becomes not 15 but probably becomes 17. Now that is high volatility, high return. As you see in this little PowerPoint presentation, this is this is very, very high volatility, very high return. This is very low volatility, very low return. I would say anybody in this category should expect, who doesn't like palpitation of heart, seeing their investments go up and down on a daily basis. These people should expect anywhere between 6 to 8% per annum. These people who can bear a little bit of a volatility should expect maybe 7 to 9% per annum. These people who have a very, very solid heart, and they want a higher return, they want a higher volatility. Are you all seeing my pen on the screen as well, please?
Yeah.
Okay. These kind of people in the last 1 year have actually made more than 100% return, but a reasonable return over a long period of time for these kind of people would be anywhere between 15 to 22%. Now, another important thing to remember about equity, when I say equity, means stocks and shares. Another important thing to remember about equity is that if you have a reasonably long time frame, which a lot of people say, there is a statistical evidence about 7 years. If you have a minimum 7-year time frame, you will always end up making at least 15% per annum with 99% probability. Probability is a very, very important thing to remember. Probability means what? If you toss a coin, you all know you'll either get heads or tails. But if you're sure that if you toss a coin, there are 99 times you will get the same tails or the same heads, it means there is a 99% probability of a heads or a tails. Of course, logically, the probability each time you toss a coin, because it remains exactly the same. So, important thing to remember that it's a statistical evidence that if you have a 7-year time frame minimum, there is a 99% chance that you will minimum make 15% per annum in equity. And this is what is very important for all the people to know in all age groups. What is my risk profile and what is my return expectation? Knowing your risk, knowing your return is very important. Tell me one thing. Am I connecting with most of the people in this group? Is everybody with me, or do you want me to change my style in any which ways? It's important for me since it's the first presentation and this is first time I'm
No,
speaking
no,
to.
it's good enough. I think people are understanding.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Uh, we'll start with this because we were talking about risk. Risk is the most important element of your investment journey. Please remember that when you make an FD in a bank, even that carries a risk. When you buy a stock and shares, that carries a risk. When you buy cryptocurrency, and I'll tell you a little bit about cryptocurrency, that carries a risk. Please remember, the lowest the risk, lowest will be the return. Highest the risk, highest will be the return. And if people understand that, they will be able to reconcile with the realities of investment. Please remember, another important thing to remember is there is no free lunch ever on this planet. If anybody tells you that there is a free lunch, no, that person is misleading you. And that is the reason why it is very important to have a financial advisor. We all go to we never start operating on our own body ourselves if there's a minor surgery to be performed. We never go to the court and fight our own case. Go to a lawyer, we go to a doctor. Similarly, investment journey is a very, very serious process. And in that seriousness of that process, you must have a financial advisor because a financial advisor gives you the right advice if he's thinking about you. Now, obviously, lawyers have a self-interest these days. Doctors have a self-interest because they are on a profit share with hospitals. Similarly, you must philosophically, psychologically, mentally connect with your financial advisor to understand and to be sure whether he's giving you the right advice or not. But talking of risk, I don't know how many of you remember that Yes Bank was or is still a very well-known bank, but till about 3 years ago, the stock price of Yes Bank was rupees 400. And Yes Bank was claiming itself to be the fourth or the third best private bank in the country, right? They were winning all awards. Their promoter, Rana Kapoor, was one of the most respected businessmen in the country, whatever. Today, that 400 rupees stock price is just 13 rupees. So people who invested or bought the stock for 400 rupees have seen a 96% wealth erosion in their portfolio in this particular stock. So this is called the vicissitudes of risk. So you have a business risk if the promoter of a company takes a wrong decision. You have a credit or a default risk. What is a credit or a default risk? You've given your money to a money lender. You've given your money to a private FD. There are a lot of people who are issuing private fixed deposits. That person invests some money and that person is not able to recover his money. So that is a credit or a default risk. What is a country risk? Turkish lira was about 5 lira to a dollar not too long ago. Today it is 18 lira to a dollar. That is a country risk. Supposing a country's leadership fails, they are dictatorial in their approach. The country can be at risk. The currency can depreciate so fast that the buying power of your currency is reduces dramatically. In about 1990, a dollar was about 13 rupees. So you could buy a dollar for 13 rupees. Today you require 75 rupees to buy a dollar. That is the degrees of depreciation that Indian rupee has seen. What another way of country risk is supposing the governments or the regimes change. changes. Afghanistan used to be one of the most progressive, forward-looking, modern country. Kabul as a city had pubs, it had nightlife, it had the most intellectual people living there. What has happened to Kabul today? We all know. That is the country risk. Foreign exchange risk, we have already discussed about Turkey. What is the political risk? I mean, political risk is what? If today, and I don't mean to judge anybody, but I'm just giving you a very easy to understand example. If today our democratic setup, we are the world's largest democracy. Today, our democratic setup starts moving a little bit towards right, as some of us are feeling that it is. That is a political risk. Nobody wants to, everyone likes to be a Hindu. We are all proud Hindus. I'm a Hindu. But I don't think we want our country to be called a Hindu nation. Far to the right, because that will change the perception of our country in the global platform. That's a political risk. Liquidity risk. What is liquidity risk? We invest. I think most of the people in this group might be from the North India or somewhere, and you would all remember Golden Forest and all. And this guy used to collect money and say, I would double your money in 3 years, and my checks never default. All the stories about Golden Forest or some other forest, I'm forgetting the name, but something like that happened. Some forest schemes came in North India a couple of decades ago, or maybe 10, 15, 20 years ago. That guy owned the largest tracts of land and real estate and everything. But when the cycle turned, all his assets got stuck and he had no money to return back to his investors. So investors' money got stuck in probably non-realizable land tracts, and that was the liquidity risk, and he eventually went to jail. So let's understand that if you are weak-hearted, might be a wrong expression, but if you don't like gyrations of the market, or the changes in your asset classes, or the changes in the value, rapid changes in your asset class, I think you should go for bank fixed deposits. You know exactly what's happening. In our country, there are only 3 banks which the government has classified as too big to fail. So if they were to fail, the government would step in. They are State Bank of India, HDFC Bank, and ICICI Bank. No other bank is too big to fail, and no other bank the government will step in. I don't know how many of you remember the PMC Bank just a couple of maybe months ago. PMC Bank used to be, I don't know what the full form is, Punjab and Maharashtra Cooperative Bank or something. And the bank failed. People lost their fixed deposits as well. We think that our fixed deposits are safe in the bank, but even the banks can fail. And people have lost money in the PMC Bank recently, and till today there was a moratorium. There was a moratorium, and no, it was not a moratorium. What is the exact word? But whatever. The Reserve Bank of India, yeah, they implemented a moratorium. You could not withdraw more than 10,000 rupees a day. Can you imagine the mental agony if you know there's a crore of your wealth lying in the bank and you can't withdraw more than 10,000 rupees a day? What if there's a medical emergency? So if you want 0% risk against any sort of default, there are only 3 banks in this country where the government will step in, which are classified too big to fail: State Bank, HDFC, and ICICI. Every other bank can, even the FD can potentially fail, and the government only assures you 2 lakh rupees of insurance out of your in your fixed deposits. So if you got your fixed deposits, say in PMC Bank, worth a crore of rupees, you will only be assured 2 lakh rupees by the government. I think they've changed the rule to 5 lakhs, but I think it's somewhere between 2 to 5. And let's quickly go back to cryptocurrencies. Great assets. An auntie of mine who's about 75 years of age recently said, Beta, mere ko na abhi I've just got retired. I've got 35 lakh rupees. और आजकल क्रिप्टो बड़ा चल रहा है. हर थोड़े दिन में पैसा डबल हो जाता है. बेटा क्रिप्टो में कैसे लगाए? उसकी एक स्टोरी मैं आपको सुनाता हूँ. You must Google, because I don't want to take too much of your time. We got a little bit of a journey to cover here. There was this guy called Gerald William Cotton, a guy who founded a crypto exchange. He had all his investors' money, because to buy and sell anything, you need a medium. He came for his honeymoon. He was a young guy, himself was a billionaire. He came for his honeymoon, was staying at Raj Vilas, and he died. He died with all the passwords of the flow through channel of the exchange, and people lost $4 billion. A billion dollar is 7,500 crores. He died with about 30,000 crores of investor wealth, and people could not do anything. Once a code is forgotten, your crypto gets lost. Recently, people founded an exchange in Turkey, an exchange named Thodex, Thodex. The founders took away, because they had access to, because they were the flow through, they took away all of their clients' money and they just vanished into thin air. And because you cannot track the crypto transaction, governments have no control over it. There is always a counterparty risk. People can vanish, an exchange can fail. Please remember that today, when you have a 2,000 rupee note in your pocket, there is a thing written, मैं धारक को 2,000 रुपए अदा करने का वचन देता हूं, signed by the RBI governor, which is signed by the sovereign. Sovereign means the government, which means your 2,000 rupees, unless the note is declared fake, your 2,000 rupees is guaranteed by the government. Similarly, the central banks guarantee that. In India, it is RBI. In US, it is Federal Reserve. So that's why if you have a dollar is guaranteed by Federal Reserve. That means any government or the central bank will never like to lose control. So there are alternate theories about cryptos. Crypto is the most loved thing right now. But there are so many theories that why would a government or a central bank ever lose control on the control of currency? If you think that governments in the long run are happy to lose control over currency, then cryptos will survive. If you think that there is no way that governments will ever allow, an alternate payment method which bypasses banks, which bypasses the international SWIFT system, you would all know that international payments are made through a system called SWIFT. If you think that governments will allow everything to be bypassed, then cryptos will do well. They might even grow from here. But please remember that a terrorist strike can be ordered and paid for by crypto without anybody knowing who paid, who made, and who received that. So these are the kind of risks in cryptocurrencies. Great asset class, great thing, but a lot of people are also comparing this to something called a tulip mania. You can all Google, it's a very interesting story. You might already have heard. In the year 1600s in Netherlands, there was a thing called tulip mania, just the tulip bulb, like onion bulb. Tulip bulbs started getting traded, and somebody made everyone believe that the world is going to run out of tulip bulbs. The graph of tulip bulbs from 1 rupee for a bulb, say I'm just giving you a symbolic example, 1 rupee for a bulb became 1,800 rupees for a bulb, and within 1 year after that, it came back to 0 rupees. So never get too enamored by the potential rate of return. Everyone is also comparing crypto thing to here. And if you see the chart of crypto and tulip mania that happened 400 years apart, these charts look exactly the same. Well, over to the next slide. And that is the reason why diversification is very, very important. Diversification means you should have a portfolio of real estate, you should have a portfolio of gold, you should have a portfolio of equity, and we did the 100 minus the age rule. So it's easy to remember how much risk you want to take, how secure is your monthly income. If you were to lose all your money, will you still be happy? Can your heart take that shock? You need to be in equity. You can even be in cryptos. You can be in whatever. If you are dependent for your bread and butter on the money that you get from your investments, and your time frame is very, very short, stick to FDs, stick to bonds, stick to gold. And I personally hate real estate, and there is a reason for that. Real estate, because Indians are not financially educated. Real estate is a great investment. Somebody who inherited a house which is worth 4 generations old, you would say कि boss मेरे दादाजी ने या मेरे परदादाजी ने ये 10,000 रुपए का लिया था, आज 10 करोड़ रुपए का है. लेकिन we should all do a very simple calculation on every asset class to understand what is the rate of return, a compounded annual growth rate you have got. So just to give you a very, very broad thumb rule, in the last 40 years, gold has given you 9%. Equity has given you about 16%. Real estate has given you about 6%. FD has given you about 5%. So real estate, in the real sense of the word, has not been the best asset class, but it is a safe asset class. Over a period of time, prices keep going up. And because Indians by and large are financially illiterate, everyone thinks, kya real estate mein paisa dal do, sab theek hi ho jayega. Well, pretty much I think I've covered everything. I'll tell you a little about my company and what we do. As Mrs. Bhardwaj said, that I started investing when I was 14. I did not have sufficient pocket money. I bought my first share at 14. I went to Delhi Stock Exchange and bought a physical share. And from there, I started my journey. And every single milestone of my life, every single achievement has not been for the money that I've earned from any other source, but from equity. Last 3-4 years, we've gone professional. We manage now about 100 crores of people's wealth. And there are two ways in which we handle people's money. One is called the portfolio management services. We have a PMS license from SEBI. There are only 260 portfolio managers in the country. The minimum investment amount as defined by SEBI is 50 lakhs per client. We only make money when our clients make money. So if we guarantee you, or if we cross a 10% annual rate, only then we start sharing profits. Other than that, we only charge 1%. You must also remember, SIPs are very famous. Mutual funds are very famous. Any SIP or any mutual fund, you end up paying about 3 to 3.5% of fund management fees. You must do your math. We only charge 1%. 3.5% is what a SIP or a mutual fund charges, which means, what does it mean? That if you are invested for 10 years, 35% of your wealth is approximately taken as fees by mutual funds. That is an established statistic. You can do your own math. The other business product, the other investment product that we have is called a small case. In the last 3 years, this has become very popular for people who want to do a DIY, do it yourself. So if you have any brokerage account, say Zerodha, Upstocks, HDFC, Kotak, Angel, Axis, Trustline, 5paisa, Alice, IIFL, Edelweiss, you can subscribe to any one of our investment philosophies. We have 3 broad schemes. I discussed much earlier, there are 3 investment profiles: young Turks, the middle-aged, the senior citizens. In line with those 3 profiles, we have just 3 simple schemes. The Wealth Maximizer, the name suggests, Maximizer is for the younger people. Enhancer is for the middle class people. Wealth Protector is for people who are like my Mossies, my mother, and my one of the most sensitive account that I handle, and for anyone, is your sister's mother-in-law. Of course, we lost her last year, but to be able to manage your sister's mother-in-law's wealth is also a great responsibility, the riskiest job that a person can do. So those kind of people, I'm just kind of cracking a joke here, but those kind of people should be in the Wealth Protector. So these are the 3 schemes we have in portfolio management services and in the investment advisory. You can see my website, mrgcapital.in, and most of these products are very do-it-yourself. You can get in touch with us. We can help you. We can guide you. And even if you don't want to become a client, it's fine. Very happy to talk. As you would have figured out by now, I love to talk. I love to give gyan because I breathe and sleep equity all the time. So guys, thank you very much. We very, very honored, Colonel Saab, for this opportunity to allow me to present to your esteemed set of friends and family. Mr. Porwal, your presentation was absolutely awesome. I think you set the stage very well, and you allowed me to build upon it. And happy to answer any questions if there are any. I'll stop sharing now, and so that we can all be on a face to face. Thank you very much. Happy to be here.
Thank you, Manu. It was a brilliant talk on managing your finances, calculating your returns, the risk involved, the craze of cryptocurrency, and now the options which you have given, where you can pitch in and, help people to enable them to grow their, wealth. Now, there are two questions which have come up. The first question is for Mr. Porwal. This is regarding the PF account. So, Mr. Porwal, there is a member who wants to know, one of the participants, that at what age you can start the PF?
Sir, he has stated that he has opened just 2 years old son's account in the PPF account. But I would like to let him know that as per the PPF rules, you can open an account in the PPF, but as per the PPF rules, since 2015, you cannot open a minor's account in the PPF. That means a kid below 18 years cannot have a PPF account. Earlier it was, but now it is not there. But some of the banks, if you go to post office, they won't open your minor son's or minor daughter's account. But some of the banks are still opening your PPF account. So be careful. You have opened the account, nice of you, but there is still a risk that if anytime it is being detected under audit, it is against the violation of the PPF rules, and you may not get the interest for the period you have invested. Only your invested amount will be refunded back. This is only excluded, only those minors who are single, means often no father or mother. They can have a PPF account, or children who are having their own skills like artists, etc. They can have their PPF account. So, please ensure you have opened the account. Congratulations, but there are limitations and there are restrictions as per the PPF rules. I think I'm clear.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Porwal. There was another question which came up from Mr. Arijit Roy. He wanted to know that, probably a sustained growth of 15%, he said anticipated appreciation of 15% return from equity stand good 20 years from now, or would it reduce like other terms of investment which has happened in the recent past? So I think you have answered this thing, but would you like
allow me to just add there?
Manu, can you speak something about it?
If you see a 40-year historical data, the CAGR has been actually 14.78%. Right. So if something has lasted 40 years, it is most likely to last 40 years more or whatever. Return on equity is generally inversely proportional to the interest rates. Interest rates have been historically low since the last few years, right? But they say that whenever the interest rates keep falling, or a sustained period of low interest rates, from an Indian parlance, a low interest rate pretty much means anywhere between 5 to 7% of prime lending and borrowing rate. From an American perspective, a low interest rate regime is 0.0 to 0.5%. From a Venezuelan perspective, interest rate is about 18 to 22%. So as long as the interest rates remain low and we don't have an inflation shock, the kind of shock that we had in the 70s, a reasonable return of anywhere between 12 to 18% from equity. And you know what, if you modulate your expectations, say 12, 14, 15, 17, you'll always end up beating those. When you want to make 40% year on year, you end up taking a risk. And when you take a risk, you end up losing money. So I believe these should be sustainable. World is becoming a global village. People are, trade is happening, companies are doing better. Uh, Friction in the system and global trade is reducing. So I think it's good.
I would, we've taken a lot of time. Thank you very much, Mr. Porwal, Sandy, and Manu. It was wonderful having you out here. And, while summing up, I would all say that money is one of the 5 most important inventions of a human being. And financial security is very important for a well-being of a person. This is what I have gathered from, today's webinar. Now, present day's pandemic has disturbed the mental peace of a very large number of people due to financial uncertainties and losses of job and business. Now, those who boasted, before some time back that they had steady income and have done, not done any kind of financial planning, they've been hit the hardest. So it is very important that we do our financial planning, speak to investor people who have knowledge about it, who have done a great deal of research, and probably you will have enough money at your hand when the crisis start. They will guide you. So, as explained by Mr. Gupta, that don't think that somebody is making money. Obviously, he's going to charge for his services, but probably he'll guide you because he's gone through the nuances of finance, what are the risks and what are the things. And since he makes money on this thing, he would like you to come to him and probably invest again. So obviously he will give you the right kind of guidance. Now, last but not the least, our next webinar, which is going to be on 11 July, and the topic is, which probably affects each and every one of us, unless you are, Lord Buddha, or, you have attained enlightenment, that is conflict management, having a relationship where conflicts come up. So we have named that particular webinar From Bitter to Better Relationships, because our panelists are going to discuss various situations where a person gets into a bitter relationship or gets into a conflict, be it be between husband and wife, be it be between laws, it can be between a child and the parent. It can also be between your neighbors, that you suppose your neighbor is probably not cooking the right kind of a food, and you're uncomfortable, so it leads to a conflict. Or most importantly, a conflict which takes place in in your job profile, and it starts breathing on your neck. You are not comfortable. So how to overcome, how should you react? Over a period of time, we've been requested to do some paid webinars on this thing. But the next webinar to touch upon these topics is going to be a free webinar, which is going to be on 11th of July, same time. Therefore, please keep looking out for the updates on the social media platform, and that is Facebook and Instagram we have of our company, and also post your queries on the mail ID if you have any, that is teamiris2021@yahoo.com. Thank you very much, participants and the panelists, and also the members of the Team Iris who have worked hard for this webinar. It was, in fact, wonderful to have you here. Stay safe.